Hello, everybody. My name's James. Welcome to Planet FPL Correspondent Week, day 3, and on episode 9 of our 20 podcast week. I'm delighted to welcome you to the man who's got a really difficult opening fixture list. It's our Wolverhampton Wanderers correspondent, Bradley Parker, who's going to tell us there's some really good Wolves assets. Aren't you, Bradley?
Yeah, for once.
He
Well,
genuinely is. But before we get into that, I wanted to talk ticket pricing a little bit, which is
mm,
very off topic from perhaps what people were expecting. But your club put out a genuinely, absolutely brilliant mental health video towards the end of the season, which was a gentleman standing, I think, on the sort of corner outside your home end.
yeah, he'd blindfolded himself, I think.
He was
Something like that.
blindfolded and he was holding up a placard.
Yeah,
And it was,
I can't
wasn't it?
remember what it said
Give me a
exactly.
hug if you want to, or
Yeah, something like that.
and it was so powerful. Which was then a real shame when very not long afterwards, Wolves reneged on their promise not to increase ticket prices and really did increase them quite significantly, which included, I think, for younger attendees and disabled fans,
Yeah.
some absurd hikes. I have heard the possibility of some threats of not attending. Have you heard anything like that?
I think in the heat of it there was. I think they released something after saying like so many people renewed, but I'm not sure if that was a misguided percentage. I think I saw a tweet somewhere saying they counted like memberships in as like a renewal. So I'm going to be interested to see what the hardcore fan base is always going to be like average. I'd say like 22,000. I'd say average.
There's a
It's the
danger
hardcore
though
fans,
of
and
pricing
they're the
out your
hardcore fans that'll be gone. They're the ones that won't be able to afford it.
yeah, it's a real danger that we what we'll end up doing is losing our atmospheres from great atmospheric stadiums like Molineux. It's a place where you go as an away fan, and because you've got that shitty lower tier, you feel like you're not together and you're all spread out. And particularly if you're at Molineux for an evening game, you can feel like you're struggling to fight the power as an away fan as an atmosphere. But it does hold a real atmospheric feel when Wolves fans really get up for it, and you're at risk of just losing that sort of thing.
Yeah, and that'll be to the detriment of the team because at the minute it feels like everything's going well off the pitch now. It's like the squad's getting sorted out, strength in actual depth for probably the first time ever in the Premier League, and that fan push will probably get us results when we're struggling or when we have to hold out.
Yeah,
That
I
actually
mean,
really matters at Molineux. You can feel it matters to the players as well sometimes.
well, it does as well because when we look at your opening 4 home games of Chelsea, Newcastle, Liverpool, Manchester City, and you go, well, yikes, you take a big deep breath. And then you actually remember that from those 4 fixtures last year, you took 7 points.
Mhm.
And actually, Newcastle scored an injury time equaliser to make sure that it wasn't 9 points from those fixtures. And in the game you lost to Liverpool, you were winning at half time. So it
Yeah,
shows the sort of power of what Molineux can be. You also beat my team there last year, drew with Villa. He had some good results in the biggest games, and you're going to need that powerful atmosphere at the start of the season. So, what's the vibe amongst the fans at the moment? Are they
really
behind
good.
what's happening at the club?
Yeah, really good.
I'm going to
Really good at
presume
the
that's
minute.
primarily because of what the manager's doing with the football team.
Yeah, the pre season has gone really well. There's not one game left, but apart from the game against Palace, which is just largely the second team, all the results have been really positive. But more importantly, is the style of play has become quite clear.
If people
It's
haven't seen,
changed.
if people haven't seen the goal that was scored against Red Bull Leipzig, I would suggest you probably missed the best pre-season goal scored so far. It's actually a breathtaking bit of football.
Yeah,
It's
it's
so good,
unbelievable.
mate. Are we expecting Wolves to permanently move to a back 4 here?
I think for the majority of the season, I wouldn't be surprised if a back three will come in occasionally. Maybe that could be dependent on injuries as well, but largely it will be a back four now. That's why a certain someone's been sold.
We'll come on to that certain someone in a minute. I think when people hear back 4, they intrinsically think this is going to be more offensive football. Your side, your club, I think, pretty much since promotion has had a little bit of a stigma, partly because of the start with Nuno. Even when you were really good with Jimenez and Jota, you didn't score that many goals. You were mean as defensively. You knew what you was getting when you played Wolves. And I feel like last year was the first year it moved away from that a
Yeah, it
little
did.
bit in terms of the style of football, trying to be a little bit more front-footed with what you do. And a permanent move to a back four just feels like that's going to push that even further. Because I think O'Neill's spoken himself when he went on Monday Night Football and he did that great piece and he spoke about, changing my expectations based on the opponent and being realistic. Sounds like he maybe wants to have more of a go. Could that, with the fixture list, backfire a bit though?
Um, I think you've just got to back yourself. We've got results against all the bigger sides last year. I think if he believes in what he's coaching and stuff, you just go with it because we've got the players to cause a lot of carnage, especially because a lot of the players now we've got are quite press resistant in attack. We can bypass it, and we've got speed. I
Sure.
think some bigger teams need to be probably a bit wary of coming onto us a bit strong.
What can your team achieve this year?
They can definitely achieve a top half finish, injuries permitting. It all depends on that.
Yeah. The squad I said several times last year felt really thin. Is that still the case?
Not at the minute. We've only had one real big sale. At the minute, any other potential out like the Neto or Ait-Nouri doesn't seem barely any talk about it really. They keep saying about like Tottenham and they want it. I saw some stupid room saying they want it for like 45 million. Well, that's not going to happen. They're not going to sell Neto for 45
Telling
million.
me I can't just have a player on a cheap, Bradley. If my club wants
No.
something, he's injury prone. Would you expect? Did you expect a big bid?
Yeah. For the his assist, what is it, assist ratio? The
I mean,
minutes played, we'll just say.
it's worth saying. Is the club in a position that it has to sell anyone else or not?
No.
So the Kilman deal has
The Kilman
solved
deal
any concern.
for, for can't get the words out. Basically, they've got selling Kilman allowed them to get Lima, Gomes, and Larsen in.
Right.
Gary O'Neill said recently. So that one transfer has filled free spaces where we needed.
Are you expecting to buy more, or are you going with what you got, do you think?
I think he wants a Premier League centre half. He wants somebody who's played in the Premier League, is experienced but not old. Because
Do you
Dawson's
not have
been
that in, I was going to say, do you not have that in Craig Dawson?
he's missed a lot of pre-season. He can't in his age now. I think he just can't shake it off as much. So we're going to need somebody to come in that's just
Okay.
rough and ready and is there to go.
I'm keen to get your opinion on Kilman, because it feels like, let's say, backlash doesn't feel right, but it does feel like Wolves fans feel like they've won the deal here.
Yeah, I'd say so. Was it 40 million? Wasn't it in the end? So got the price we wanted.
I mean, young, English, ball
Is he
playing,
20? How old is he now? 27? 20? I
centre
think so.
back. I think his centre back is still reasonable. He's not old anyway. Let's put it that way.
No, it's not
He's
old.
not past being bought. Okay, maybe in his prime. I don't know. It feels like the the paying rate, but I know you guys have stressed concern about him in a back four, and we've already discussed. It looks like you want to move to a back four. Is it possible he was one of the things holding you back from doing so?
Probably because he got Chelsea to be the captain, didn't he? And I think Gary O'Neill might have been a bit thinking, I'll just come in, do a rip the captaincy off him. Probably not.
I
Not rocking
corrected.
the boat.
You won't have heard it yet, but I corrected Chris on the West Ham podcast when he said, "Oh, he was captain, he's got leadership," and I said, "The Wolves guys tell me he's not. You're for the
No,
benefit of those in the audio, you're massively shaking your head to that."
no. Not it wasn't evident on the pitch. It's become apparent like when Dawson was injured for a good period of time, the defence was very unorganised. You
It,
think as the captain he'd be the leader, but
is it also pleased though that because you've sold him, it gives you a greater chance of holding on to Neto, as an example?
yeah,
Says a little
and
bit of that.
Ait-Nouri importantly.
Yeah. How do you think you'll get on at West Ham, Kilman?
Are they going to play a back four?
Well, it looks like it might be a free in pre-season, so it kind of all
Oh,
adds up. Lopetegui obviously knows him, right?
yeah, Lopetegui loves him. He was strong under Lopetegui though in the free. He's not a bad footballer or nothing. He'll be fine if he's playing in the free. It's just that there is times where you think just be a bit more aggressive, or I find him quite reactive overall rather than proactive. So it depends on sort of defensive style you like. Like Dawson's very proactive. The fans will probably love that a bit more than a reactive defender, because if you're reacting, sometimes you react too late because he
I
has
get
got
that.
caught out for goals
I
by
suppose
watching.
it's while we're talking West Ham just briefly, it's worth getting your opinion on Lopetegui himself as well. Do you expect him to do well or not?
Uh, Probably he's a good manager. They've got some proper firepower, but I find when I look at their defence still at the minute, it looks a bit flimsy because they still play Zuma every week, as far as I'm aware. He
Um,
looks a bit dodge.
yeah, Chris is a bit concerned about him injury wise and stuff, and they've got a few competitive there. Gued, Mavropanos. There's a few that they can play there, and obviously Kilman now as well.
Yeah.
So I don't think they're short in that particular area. How is he thought of by Wolves fans now?
I don't think no one has bad feelings towards him. And I think he done a good job. I mean, you can't buy him for 40k. What we got for 40k was great. Got the right money for him. Never a problem at the football club. No problems whatsoever. He won't get booed or nothing like
All
that. I'd
right.
hope not. I don't see why you would.
I want to talk some of your new signings individually, and then we'll look at some of the positions. Firstly, tell people who are unfamiliar with Pedro Lima, who is a 4.0 defender.
He's going to be fun to watch, I think, once he breaks in. Probably not much this season, but Semedo is suspended for the first 3 games.
Mm.
But I probably imagine he'll play Doherty just for the experience. But then again, that's Doherty in a back four, so it's like, why are we bothering?
I really wish Adam Pritchard had told me that Martinelli was going to start in game week 1.
I mean, if Lima plays, then great, but probably be Doherty. He looks so good already. It's just he's very aggressive, like going forward. Technically, very good. His physicality has quite surprised me in pre-season because he looks like he's quite thin, but
Yeah.
you don't mind the physical battle, which is very important to see early on, I think.
Who would you compare him to in the league that you could
Oh,
give people a visualization and say, yeah, is he more like is he like a Porro, for example?
probably in the way he goes forward. It's very aggressive going forward.
But you don't think he'll start game week 1?
Probably not. Managers will probably go on the experience, especially for this Arsenal as well.
Yeah, I get that. Doherty right back at Arsenal in a back four. Is
Yeah, I
that what you're
know. Might as
telling
well play
me?
Lima. Yeah.
Yeah, Pritchard, I've put your 3 points on the board for week 1, mate. Semedo's suspended to game week 4, is that right?
Yeah.
Or
I checked that the other day. I was
does
like,
he
oh.
escape a League Cup game? Or was it because he had 2 reds last year or something?
Can't remember. He probably has got another red down because it's.
He had 2 reds last year. Because obviously he'd have a League
I can
Cup
remember the
game.
Liverpool one, but I can't remember off the top of my head.
No, only one. I just had a look at the stats. I'm I'm not convinced that that's right till game week 4 because I think
Because
he'll
I
be
checked on
suspended.
FPL and it said suspended till September. I was like, oh,
Yeah, but he should be suspended, I think, for a League Cup game. Like Reece
yeah,
James is suspended till then. Um, but obviously Chelsea are in Europe, so I'm not sure what to read. I'm not convinced that that's game week 4 and Nelson Semedo. I'm sure they probably know more than me. In any case, you possibly got Doherty playing at right back start the season, correct?
yeah,
Okay. Tell me about, please, Mr. Gomez. You're not João Gomez, who's a
very.
player that I really like. Tell me about the new one, mate.
It's very. He looks. Ironically, he looks like what a Pedro Neto replacement would be.
He
But
looks like a Pedro Neto
yeah,
replacement. This is
if he was to go,
Rodrigo Gomez, by the way.
yeah, fast, technically very good. But what I like from what I've seen in pre-season, unlike some of the other wide forwards we got, this guy will attack the back post. And that's where he's getting goals from.
Okay. He's got a
Like,
couple in friendlies already, hasn't he?
yeah, he's got 3,
When you
all down
signed
here
him,
attacking the back almost.
even in your article on your own website when you signed him, your own club compared him to Pedro Neto.
Yeah, you can see it. He's just better at attacking the box directly than Neto.
So you
'Cause
sure
Neto will
45
swing the
million's
ball.
not enough for Neto? You've already got the replacement, mate.
No, more.
Okay, fine. Rodrigo Gomes is 5.5. What's his chances of getting in the team at the start?
I think it might depend on Cunha's injury. I think if he's injured, he might start him.
Okay. And he's what, left winger, we saying?
Yeah, he's been playing on the left.
Okay. And what about our new man up front, Mr. Giant, Mr. Jorgen Strand Larsen?
He looks impressive as well. He's not scored yet in pre-season. He's been a bit unlucky, but he has made goals. His physicality is good as well. I mean, he's like 6'4". I thought he was going to be quite slow, but luckily he's quite pacey. He makes good runs as well. Holds the line very well, which is something we've been desperate for since Jimenez.
What are you doing if you're playing a back four at the moment? What are you doing? Is it more like a 4-3-3 or a 4-2-3-1?
4-2-3-1.
Okay. So is this potentially a deeper role maybe for Cunha behind someone like
Yeah,
Larsen?
Cunha's been ahead of Lamina and Gomes. Well, would be ahead of Lamina and Gomes. Then you'd probably play Neto left. I'd pick Neto left. And
Hwang
it's
right.
between Gomes and Hwang right. It depends, because it depends on the
I mean,
options, I guess.
on paper, that if this fella up front's good, that sounds great, mate. Again, finding someone to regularly find the net's obviously been a problem for you. Cunha obviously did the bit last year, really, and showed himself to be a really good player. Do you think Larsen will start then?
Yeah, I'd have thought so. As long as he's fit. I think there might be times in the season where, depending on fitness and form, he might shove Hwang up front. But to start the season, I'm imagining Larsen will play.
Yeah, I understand that. I'm just trying to think what his mobility would be like game one playing against Saliba +1, assuming
Yeah,
it's Gabriel.
test.
Like, that's going to be a rough opener.
I'd rather him physically battle with Emel than Hwang, because I find Hwang's a bit of a wet Betis in physical challenges with his back to
Yeah,
goal.
but
So
Hwang might take people into places that they don't necessarily want to go. If you're quick enough on the counter attack, that's very difficult to do against Arsenal, by the way. Yeah, it's interesting. You want to play more football, but it's a target man essentially that's been brought in. It's interesting. What do you think the theory is on that? Because obviously the club had
just in
previously
case,
invested in Kalidžić, right? Who
yeah, he's
he's back at
crap.
the club, is he? Kalidžić?
Yeah, he's just, they might as well just write him off. Like, I
Shame
can't
that.
even imagine him playing. It's both knees that have had ACL injuries now. So
It's absurd. Okay, so we think Larsen might start. So that gives us some intel in terms of what we can potentially expect in terms of starting 11. I want to ask you about Jose Sarr, who I remember when they did the price unveils, one player per club last year. It was him, wasn't it? 5
yeah,
million. And everyone was like, oh, great. Cheers. Thanks for that. Well, we've had big drops across the board on Wolves defensively here. And I think 107 points last season for Sarr is every case to say that's justified. But he's been a bit of a consistent beast. And what we can certainly acknowledge, because the fixtures you've got, he's going to have to make some saves early on, mate.
yeah, exactly. Right them save points in.
Only 4 clean sheets last season. He'd kept 11 in both of his previous 2. Do you expect yourselves to improve defensively this year?
Uh, Probably. I think it'd be hard pressed to be worse. To be honest, so
Chris Stein said that to me about West Ham, and I said, I'll tell you what, mate, it can definitely get worse, mate. Where did you finish last year, Bradley?
is it like 13, 14, something like
Right, it can definitely get worse, mate. Let me tell you, without a shadow of a doubt. Things can always be better, things could always get worse. Are you interested in Sarn out 4.5? Because there's a big hunt on for the best 4.5. And everybody's got their kind of their thoughts of there's something, Henderson and Johnson, which one, who's in goal for Chelsea, whoever it is, Areola, bad fixtures, whoever it is, Forest, we don't know who's in goal. Whoever it is like something wrong with the 4.5 everywhere. The problem with Sarr here is the fixtures.
Yeah, I'm not going to pick him. You'd rather pick some of the Wolves' defensive players if you're going to pick one. Even if it's just to sit on the bench for a little bit.
Yeah. Did you hear that Bentley to Arsenal link?
Yeah,
What's all that about?
it's probably for the homegrown quota. I mean,
Probably. It's not
he's
in a
crap
swap.
as
It's not in a
well,
swap deal. Is that to allow Ramsdale to go to Forest? Maybe, possibly. Yeah, I haven't seen anyone look at Sarr. I'm sure there are people looking at him, but I haven't seen a team with Jose Sarr in it with those fixtures you've got at
no.
the start. I think it's one again. If someone had genuinely identified that they wanted to wildcard on Boxing Day and it's late, then by all means go and get him. But then I think that just comes back to Flecken or Areola as well, probably. 8 Norian at 4.5 really surprised people.
Yeah, I thought it'd be more expensive.
Agreed. Um, when your fixtures swing, and it really does swing. So the start's bad. We mentioned the home games, but obviously you also go to Arsenal in one. You go to Aston Villa fairly early on as well. Then there's this really good swing. You could argue maybe from Brighton in 9. You can argue Palace in 10. Definitely from Southampton 11. That goes right up till take your pick. Manchester United at home 18, Tottenham away 19, or Nottingham Forest at home 20. 21 to 25, I would probably take a holiday, Bradley. Newcastle away, Chelsea away, Arsenal at home, Villa at home, Liverpool away. But there's a really good run. So you've got a really bad start, a really good prolonged run in the middle, and then this awful bit. How many of the community do you think are going to be Rayan Ait-Nouri around about game week 9 to 11, mate?
I think it depends if he keeps where he's playing in the system at the minute. Might influence that because he's not exactly bombing forward.
So I'm guessing, based on this reworking, he's at left back.
He starts there, but he what happens is Lamina fills in that left-sided place
Yeah,
depending if we've got the ball. And Ait-Nouri is basically being used now for ball progression
yeah,
because he's like the most press-resistant player probably at the football club.
yeah.
He can escape anything.
Um, I really enjoyed one of the games I really enjoyed last year. And it wasn't a thriller. It was when you played Sheffield United. I pretty much spent the game watching him
Yeah,
because he
he's
would
great. He's
he
great.
just he just went into midfield for the whole game.
He just smokes a cigar when he plays football.
Yeah,
It's
he's a
just
good player. I don't think he's ironed out inconsistencies in his game. I still think he has a major problem with his composure right at the end, but it may well come. And obviously, there was this period where he'd ended up playing right wing for you towards
yeah.
the end of last season, and people were getting on him and buying him. He won the penalty against West Ham and got injured, didn't he? He was on for a potential hole. We like players like this. These are the sort of 4.5s we want to be buying rather than arguing with Mark about Murillo versus Blankovic. We want to go and buy people like Rayan Ait-Nouri. No one's going to do it at the moment, though, are they?
No, not unless your squad's built in a way that you're happy just to keep him
Or,
on the
or,
bench
or
for a
I
while.
can't. Or am I missing something, Bradley? Can you make a case for it?
Uh, Only if you want to keep him on the, only if you don't want to wild card into him, but I don't see the point there, really. He's cheap enough to get any at any time, so
He does feel that transfers are more precious this year psychologically. Like I'm trying to imagine. I think a lot of people are going to wild card either quite early or around about 5, 6, or then wait till maybe November, December. So not going to do it around about the period where your fixtures get really good because it's not just you that fixtures get good. It's other teams like Brentford, Ipswich, Leicester, Fulham. Is that what people want a wild card into? Sure, you want a team like that where you can have your 8 Norries go with, but I don't see teams wild carding around that point. So are they going to waste transfers going and buying 8 Nori? Because it might not be 8 Nori that we want, right? It might be Cunha, it might be Hwang, it might be Neto. Um, so I wonder if he might just get ignored quite a bit, Bradley, particularly if you're saying it is a little bit more defensive now.
yeah, if he carries on that role, then I think people have. It is worth noting, though, he still is on some set pieces.
Okay. Who are we expecting on them generally?
Corners, probably Ait-Nouri, penalties as well. Cunha, I'd probably say.
Okay.
If
Of
Sarabi's on
the
the pitch, he'll rob the corners off him.
we're not expecting him to start though, right?
No, not at all.
Okay. Of the 4.5s, leave the 4.0s for the moment. Of the 4.5s, is that comfortably Ait-Nouri if people did want to buy one?
Yeah, comfortably.
Couldn't make a case for the doc, even though you think he'll start in game one. I'd love it if you win 1-0 at Arsenal when he scores. That'd be great. Nico, cut this up just on the 0.01% chance that it might happen. 4.0s. Okay. Firstly, Kai Hover. Are we
Who?
expecting any minutes for him at all?
No.
Fine. That's what I thought you were going to say. And I thought I'd get that one out of the way early because I know you want to talk about Yerson Mascara.
Oh yeah, he looks what we thought we brought before he got that unfortunate injury.
Where's he been?
He's been at FC Cincinnati, and then he went to Villarreal, and then he's come back. Both loans really, really good. Villarreal was desperate to buy him, but they was offering like something measly, like 16 million euros. It's like, I don't think so. No way.
Okay. He is yet to make a Premier League appearance for Wolves, despite signing for you 3 years ago. He is 4.0. That's quite understandable based on this history. I think you're going to tell me that he might start in game week 1.
Yeah, he looks very ready. He's probably the main reason why O'Neill's shifted into the back four, because he started him and Totti. They look quite strong together, and it pushes us up the pitch because both of them, crucially, have got pace.
Whereas Dawson and Kilman don't.
And they're stronger physically. They're willing to duel with people. They don't mind getting one-on-one.
Okay. What's he like in comparison to Totti Gomes?
He similar in their probably style of defending, but Mosquera has a bit more ability on the ball.
Okay.
And class. Totti's quite rough and ready, and will like be ready to die for you. He's not like awful on the ball, but he doesn't have as much calmness as Mosquera's exhibited in pre-season.
So if the two of them are fit and Dawson and it's a back four, which would be the favoured two, do you think?
Probably them two, because they're the ones he's used in pre-season and looked strong.
So not Dawson.
Not in the mini. He's not a
That's
real
really
game.
that says to me, if you think that's the favoritism, that then is a major shift, I think, in how you want to play as a team, as a unit, in terms of your compactness and pushing up the pitch. Because exactly what we discussed about Dawson and Kilman previously. That means you can leave yourself a little bit more open. I would also have concern about that, about the experience and the leadership. You've got a player here,
Yeah,
Mosquera,
that's
who's
what I
never
was
played
thinking.
in the Premier League. I can't profess to know much about Totti Gomes' leadership quality. I would not want Matt Doherty organising the back four. And I'm going to guess that's probably not Rayan Ait-Nouri's forte either.
No.
So that would be a concern. That's why I thought you would have said that there's still probably going to be a room there for a Dawson. But you also said he wants to buy a Premier League centre back, right?
Yeah.
Has there been any links with anyone specific?
There's linked to that Burnley guy. I forgot his name, but
Esteve.
he's not really experienced, is he,
Maxim
that much?
Esteve.
Yeah.
Decent actually. That would be left-sided centre backs that you'd possibly be replacing Totti Gomes. Again, wouldn't know quite what to think of him from a leadership perspective in terms of organisational. But you see so many teams now where they just train so well. I still think it needs a vocal
Yeah,
something.
I think so.
That back four you're telling me is just not vocal at all. I don't think. I might be wrong. And it's possibly relied on someone like Dawson previously. But you do get so many more defenses now get away with having non-English defenders, but within Arsenal's makeup, say someone like Gabriel is very vocal, whereas I'm not sure if Saliba is, for example. Romero is vocal with Tottenham, Mickey van der Ven is not, for example. You do need something there that's going to organise what's happening at the back. Okay, that's really interesting. Mosquera for FPL? Because the 4.0s, there's a lot that might play, but I don't think any of them are any good.
I think I will end up with him to sit on the bench, ready for a fixture turn.
Oh, late wildcard, Bradley. Got patience. What are you going to be doing? Rolling 5 transfers everywhere or something stupid?
Yeah, just leave him there. Just leave him. let him stew.
So what you're gonna do? Just save up all your transfers for Wolves fixture swing in game week 10. That's the period of the season where I think people might start beginning to do it. Actually, talk to me about the attacking trio then. So Hwang and Neto obviously as midfielders. Cunha as a forward. They are all 6.5.
Mm.
Is that right in your opinion? Should any one of them be more expensive or cheaper than the others?
Probably not, because their Hwang and Neto's injury record is a bit dicey. So it's probably about right, because their output in return can be quite good. But every time you have them in your team, it's always like, and they're going to survive this match and they're going to die next week. It's like playing with fire.
If you had to start with one,
Uh, probably Hwang, just for the more chances of a goal than Neto.
yeah, I'd agree on the goal scoring aspect of that. The problem with Hwang is, I think with the fixtures you've got, that's just getting lost with all the other 6.5 mids to be starting with that. Therefore, probably if Cunha's fit, what's the issue with him?
It was just a small hamstring thing. I think Gary O'Neill says he should be fine. He might even appear this week in the friendly. So
He's got a chance for game week 1.
yeah, he thinks he'll be fine.
You need him, don't you? How good is he?
Yeah, he's proper class, proper class.
Lamina and João Gomes, I presume first choice. Lamina's been given captaincy now, hasn't he?
Yeah, finally.
Is it his cousin or his brother is in the squad now as well?
Oh no, they got rid of him. I think
Oh,
he was just on loan because their dad had died, and I think because he's really young, I don't know if he needed to be by his older brother. I don't know. I
I
think he's
know
been
the
sent to like the second division of France now.
I know in fairness, and I know the club looked after him really well. I think we've seen lots of that on media, and I know Lamina's been very appreciative of that as well. The club give him some good time. I really like João Gomes, mate. He is, for anyone listening and playing Telegraph this season, shooing. And he would have
Tackle
been.
beast.
I think he would have been if I had Sky Fantasy this year as well. Yeah, ball winning monster. Good
Elite at that.
technically. We'll chip in with 4 or 5 goals a season. I saw him score twice at White Hart Lane last season, so I know that's capable. Any interest in him at 5?
No, it's too many yellow cards. You could
Yeah,
get
no,
like if Morgan Rogers starts, then that's where your £5 million will go.
that's one for Lee Jackson later in the week. Any chance of these 4.5s getting decent minutes? I think we can probably say they're not going to be part of your starting 11.
Who's 4.5 now? Is it
Well,
Boubacar
you've got
4.5?
Kundal in there who's played a few minutes once on odd occasion. I guess the name in there that people might be familiar with is Chiquinho,
Oh,
who has got ability, hasn't he, Bradley?
yeah. I hope he does stay because again, it's just a bit of depth, and if you're holding on late on in the game, you kind of feel the Adama light version. Just the guy to bring on, chase the ball like Adama,
Bradley,
but not
everyone's light compared to Adama, mate.
It's like the less extreme version. Just chase it, just get it, just chase it and win fouls. I think that'll mainly be his role.
But I presume we should rule out those 4.5s.
Yeah, Chiquinho won't start. He's not got the same technical ability as the other guys.
Okay. I'm gonna guess, Bradley, that you're gonna tell me in conclusion that you probably won't be starting with any Wolves players here, other than maybe Mosquera from the price perspective.
I'm just waiting to see what Cunha's thing is. I actually have Larsen in my team at the moment for
Okay.
5.5 because it's a benchable price for harder fixtures, and then drop him in and out.
You got a long wait before you drop him in, mate. I think. I mean, look,
I'm
Chelsea.
not. I'm not scared of. I'm not that scared.
It depends
No,
how
I
you
think.
look at it. Like you look at game weeks 2 and 4, 2 to 4. Chelsea at home, Forest away, Newcastle at home. Like you're going to be underdogs in all 3, even the Forest game because it's away. But you're capable of getting a result in any of them games.
Yeah, I'm not really too scared of Chelsea at the minute because they don't look.
I mean, yeah,
They look a
that
messy.
might even be a good fixture. Who knows? Maybe Gary Mantle will tell us later in the week. So likely starting 11 game week 1. Tell me if I've got this wrong on what we discussed then, Bradley. So Sarr,
Yeah,
Ait-Nouri, Toti Gomez, Mosquera, Doherty, Lamina, Gomez, Neto, Cunha, Hwang, Larsen.
Yeah, if
It's
Cunha's
quite
fit, yeah,
quite offensive.
that's the way it looks like it wants to go. It might surprise us and change, but that's the team that people
What's your
want.
last friendly?
So, Rayo Vallecano.
It's not the sort of opponent we suddenly are going to prepare for a back five against Arsenal against. Interesting. I mean, look, you're obviously capable of going to Arsenal and going, yeah, fine, we'll go 5-4-1, and it wouldn't be a real shock. But it sounds
Yeah.
like you might go there and try and play as it stands. Interesting. My instinct on that is it makes Arsenal assets more appealing for game week 1. That's not meant as a disservice to you. It's just realistic, mate.
No, they're not expecting nothing in that one.
Nah, to be honest, there's not many going to go there and aren't going to expect anything this season. Okay, Bradley, go on then. Where are you going to finish, mate?
Uh, I'm going to say about 8th or something like that, hopefully. Something like that.
Blimey, you sent me a load of predictions and you went up a place. 9th, you went for.
I'll go for 9th.
How many other correspondents do you think predicted you to finish top half?
Probably nobody.
1. You can give a thank you to
Oh,
Tom Med.
he knows balling.
How many do you think predicted you to go down?
I'd have thought none, surely.
1.
Really? Some of the
Look at
crackers in the
you.
Prem? No
Look at
way.
you like it's impossible. I realize it feels a lot better than it. This is what's happening. We're in a full sense of security here, Bradley. This time last year, I'm sitting here and I'm going, I'm petrified for you. I genuinely was really,
I
really
wasn't.
worried for you. I had you in my bottom 3 to go down. I wasn't the only one who thought that. Then he started playing some football and went, they're all right. And now you got these rough fixtures, and we're all sitting there going, ah, be all right. It's no chance Wolves go down. Too good, yeah?
Yeah, compared, yeah.
Okay. In terms of average correspondent predictions, they would have you probably finishing 14th, mate.
No,
The majority of predictions for you are in that bracket between 13th and 16th.
I've a lot put Palace to finish higher,
Yes.
even though they're so gay. Mateta's coming back late. At least
Where's Gay gone?
going to Newcastle.
Is he? Says he.
Yeah, David Ornstein.
Oh, when did he say that?
Not that long ago.
Oh, he said it was interesting. He didn't say it was done deal.
Sounding like it now.
All right. All right. So losing Gay. All right. It's just one player, isn't it? Lost
Lisa.
Elise. I bought Ismail Assar. Yeah, I'll
That's a
save it for
downgrade.
Rory to tell you where Palace. But yeah, higher than Wolves. I think the correspondents have got quite high hopes for Palace this year. We'll see if they're proven right or wrong. Bradley, thank you very much, mate. I think for the record, you'll be absolutely fine this year. And you're one of the teams actually I'm most intrigued to watch towards the start of the season to see this new style and see if we see another step up from Wolves, which might need one step back for 2 forward, by the way.
Yeah, yeah.
But I
I
think
hope
there's a
people have a bit of
positivity.
patience because there will be some things that go wrong, but I don't think there's any need to press a panic button.
Yeah, I just hope if you change style and you have a really disastrous start, what I mean by that is you get to it's not inconceivable with the fixtures you get to sort of game 5 or 6 and you've got 1 or 2 points. I just hope they don't panic
Yeah, I hope so as well. The
purely
team deserves
because
better.
to go back to conversations we've had at the start, and I think statements that the ownership made themselves, particularly last summer, which was I thought pretty fair. The fact that they came out and were open and said, "Look, we're going to fail PSR if we're not really careful here," and told everyone that. I think that's good. But I do wonder if they smell relegation, if they'll panic. And I hope they don't because I think Gary O'Neill is onto a good thing there. I think you've got a good manager, mate. I think he's
Yeah,
proved
and
a
a
lot of
sporting
people wrong.
director.
Yeah, I think you'll be fine. I don't see you pushing top half, but I think you'll absolutely be fine. And as ever, I think it'll be a very difficult football match. Before we finish, Bradley, anything you want to plug, either for yourself or for Wolves content?
For Wolves content, probably Talking Wolves podcast is pretty good if you want to hear anything about Wolves. They're quite
Talking
good.
Wolves.
Yeah,
Nice.
sure. They're quite good.
Next up, correspondent week. I've been looking at journeys, Wolves to Newcastle. Bloody hell, I've got it lucky
Don't.
living near London. How can it be that it takes Bradley so much longer to get to Newcastle than it takes me? That doesn't make much sense. Okay, it's a little bit quicker in a car, but not by much. God, you got to go around the world. Quickest way, get a train. You got to go backwards on yourself down a new street, then up to
Hope it's not
Newcastle.
delayed.
Then take the walk through the beautiful city of Newcastle. I say that because I'm going to be there very soon in a couple of weeks. So I have to say that, but I do love the tune. To St James's Park, which is bang in the middle of Newcastle city centre. Next up on Correspondent Week is Simon Bibby talking about the Toon Army. Bradley, thank you very much, mate. Good luck for the season. Cue music, please, and child.